All right, guys. Good morning. Welcome into Train and Trade. Going to get those slides refreshed for you. Make sure you follow along on Telegram for some of those interesting discussions. You got a little tidbit into it in the intro leading up to this. So make sure you arrive early. Not everything makes it into the recording. Now, we do want to encourage everybody to join us over at our YouTube site, dtitrader.com/YouTube. And as you get in there, make sure you like and subscribe and go ahead and say good morning to us in the chat room there. We look forward to hearing from you. Go to that site, click on the little live window, click that like, click that subscribe, and say hello. And we want to welcome in all our YouTube guests. They are live and operating. B. Jones, good to see you there. Kevin, great to see you. I know Wendy's going to be coming in just a second. We'll have a few others joining us as well. Now, risk disclaimer, we are talking about markets. There is a very high degree of risk involved in trading. You and you alone are going to be responsible for the decisions you make, so make sure you make them responsibly. We always know that risk is associated with markets, and we want to remind you that past performance is not always indicative of future results. So let's move in. Crude, this is one of the big deals going on right now. The July contract opened last night, 104.12, went to a high of 104.45. You heard Tom a little bit earlier mention they had made it down below 100, 99.45, trading right now at 100.49. So that's kind of a big drop from where they were opening. And of course, Iran. It's the big headline topic. Everybody's paying attention, and there is information everywhere. So be careful. It could certainly affect the market. But the biggest one, and I think Tom and I are in agreement about this, we got Jensen coming out. I'm going to have a hard time pronouncing his last name, so I just leave it at the first name. He's going to come out and give us an earnings call after the bell for NVIDIA. Really looking forward to that, getting a lot of information there. And then tomorrow morning, PMI composite flash. It's not the biggest news item, but it's probably one of the bigger news items we've got going on this week. Now, we do have FOMC minutes a little bit later on today, Tom. I don't know what they mean. We might have a discussion about that. It might just be something you put on the back burner. Key levels, the week open is the big one, 74.10. We'll see how that runs out. And let's go ahead and move into, I want to get Tom in here to talk about what we're seeing in these markets. And first of all, Tom, we talked about this a little bit earlier, but for the recording, let me just say Intel 117.26 right now. They've even bumped up while we've been talking. Went up to 121.94 earlier today. And I think you told everybody on the TNT channel, this is why you should go to dtitrader.com/telegram and dtitrader.com/TNT. If I'm not mistaken, your number was 115.55 on Intel. So that's looking pretty good. And not just Intel, but really that sector is doing well this morning.
Yeah, it was that was a resistance level I had this morning when I got up. I got real early this morning, and I was looking at it. I said, "Is this right?" I double checked a couple quote sources. Yeah, Intel's on the move, and I was really sort of taken back by it. You know, I've got a bunch of, when I say a bunch, I got a lot of credit spreads puts at a lot lower prices. I'm just sort of letting die out. And I thought as long as we stayed above 100, I'd be fine. But all of a sudden now we're up here pressing the highs. If I didn't have this Iran war right now, I'd be throwing out about 10 or 15 Intel trades because I think that you got to give it the benefit of the doubt. The knee-jerk reaction is all it's going to be. I think 72 hours, if they do go in, and we're probably wherever it bottoms out, it's going to be a good buying opportunity. I think that's the way it's going to play out. And but something tells me, and it just tells me, I don't know why I came up with this idea, that there must be a plan afoot to keep crude oil from having a shock in price once we attack, if we do attack. You know, I think that it swung back and forth, but I think that America, most people I talk to anyway, are ready to get it over with. And it's sort of like you go to a dentist and they keep giving you shots to fix a cavity, and you're going, are you ever going to fix the cavity? You know, and I think we're ready to see it happen and move on, because this market should be, based on my assessment, uh, golden opportunities, and I'm ready. I mean, I'm just sitting here waiting. I'm trying to stay real short term right now because I think that's the smart way to play. I told a lot of people, when you made a lot of money this year, the hard part is keeping it and not giving it away on silly trades. And so I want to be very disciplined about that approach, because we've had a tremendous year already, probably matching most full years in the past, because it's been that good. But be a little careful. And I don't know if everybody remembers talking about Intel, or not Intel, but NVIDIA. I said when it got over 255, you'd see 220. I said once you got to 220, you'd see 245. But we're in that zone now that once we get past these earnings, I'm looking for 245. So we'll see if that happens on NVIDIA.
And Tom, for the overall market, since the end of March, we've had a great little streak going. Let me just go ahead and show everybody this 7-week streak, trying to get to 8 of the market just pushing. You see all those green bars, that weekly bouncing up. We knew that March was going to be tough. I think you basically told everybody that. And as we were getting to the end of March, you were like, hey, opportunity. And look at this. This is like an incredible move in the market. And
yeah, if you look at that weekend that we had the blockade, I knew that was a smart way to go. And I started buying then, and I've been, I pretty well topped out, I guess, a couple of days ago, Thursday last week, and I've just sort of been waiting to re-engage, picking up a trade here and there with futures and other things. But I'm talking about serious positions that you're going to hold. I'd like to get to that stage of where we are, because right now you just got to be careful. Just be careful. I think being careful is always a good thing to do.
A little struggle with the uncertainty at the moment. We'll see if Jensen and NVIDIA clear that up after the close today. So should be fun going on. Let's go ahead and move through here and just take a look at some of these stocks. Intel, we talked about. 108.77 was Friday's close. RB3 opened today 116.22. As I mentioned a little bit earlier, the high a little bit earlier today 121.94. So you can see the growth that has had. Apple 323 was Friday's close. They're kind of flattening out a little bit. RB3 opened at 298.18, and Apple right now 299.46. Come down to NVIDIA 225.32 Friday's close. RB3 open today 223.18. Let me take a look at NVIDIA 224.97 right now. So climbing back up toward that Friday close, but I expect NVIDIA to be a little bit restrained in front of earnings. We'll see how that plays out. I don't know. That's my expectation. I want to be clear. Tom might have a different one. How do you feel about NVIDIA leading up into that earnings? Is it going to be restrained, or are we going to get a little bit of movement there?
It's bullish today going into earnings. And, the reason I say that, we're above the opening price, that 225 area. If it gets above that, I think you can see, the next stop will be 227.50, then 230. You just got to take it step by step until we get to that earnings this afternoon. But I know that it's pretty interesting when you think about it. I think, a lot of concern by a lot of market followers is that the Mag 7 stocks account for more than half of the S&P's total gains, and that concerns people. It doesn't concern me because I've seen this before. It really spreads out. The rally spreads out as long as those Mag 7 hold their prices or go higher. So that doesn't concern me at all. I think it's just pretty interesting that you're able to sit here and take advantage of the market. But I wanted to show everybody these numbers because this is going to be really important tomorrow afternoon when you start judging. You know, the market likes records. And so if we got a 3-day weekend, got to keep that in mind, right? Going into Monday. If we did rally between now and tomorrow and ended up the 8th week in a row, that would put us in, as they say, rarefied air. Only 20 times in history that has happened. Did you know that, Chuck? 20 times.
Yeah, I mean, we're already in rarefied air. The question is, how much thinner does that air get? So we're definitely moving up into that historic type moments. By the way, someone mentioned NVIDIA. I gave the quote of 224.97, and they mentioned it's up above 225 now. Yeah, that stock did rally about $1 in the 30 seconds or so that Tom was talking there. So yeah, it's actually moving a bit, but we'll see how far it goes. Now,
and I want to remind people, y'all remember what I was asked at the darkest days this year, what I thought the year was going to be, and I said, folks, statistically, probability wise, this market's going to be a lot higher by December. And that was when we were at absolute lows when I answered that question. And I'm looking at crude oil out of my corner of my eye. It's at 97, Chuck. 97.
Yeah, there's something going on right now as we
There's
speak.
something, I'm telling you, folks, I've been watching this tape for years. There's some news out there that we don't know that a lot of people know, because you got the S&P at 7450. NVIDIA is streaking right now. It's sort of fun to be with y'all during this time period. Okay. Great. You know.
Yeah, definitely. And guys, if you want to be a larger part of this, make sure you invite your friends to come and join us at dtitrader.com/train and trade. If you're sending referrals into this room, remember this room is open to the public. So if you bring your friends in, let Jonathan know that you're bringing people in to listen in, be a part of these sessions, and you get to type to us in the chat room. So always looking forward to hearing your input or seeing your input, I guess. But make sure to let Jonathan know that you're referring your friends. Send an email to him, copy it at row@dtitrader.com, and we're going to have a drawing to see who's doing the best job of sending referrals at the live Sawgrass event, which is coming up. Let's see. Actually, usually we have a presentation there, but coming up at the end of May, the weekend after the Memorial Day weekend. So we're looking forward to that, the beginning of June. So make sure that you let people know. Now, we've seen the success, or you've seen the success we've had in May. And let's take a look at some of these numbers here, Tom. So far, for the month of May, 31 total trades, 31 winners, 0 losers, 0 break even, 100% accuracy rate. The one question I have, Tom, how come you couldn't do any better than that?
I was shocked when I first saw that slide. I don't keep up with it that way. I usually typically think I'm going to be right 4 out of 5 times, Chuck, all these years of trading. And it's sort of interesting to me that when Jonathan threw that slide up there, I said, whoa, who did that? Now, it was me. That's pretty good stuff. So, but then he told me something this morning. I hope he's got a slide on this. This was a shocking thing, too. He showed me this morning.
I assume this is what you're talking about, the record last June. Let's look at June 2025. Look at this: 27 total trades, 27 winners.
That was Sawgrass right there. Some of it, 12 of it was. But go back to, I didn't realize I was perfect the whole month. I knew I was perfect in Sawgrass because we were 12 for 12. But I didn't know I was perfect for the whole month of June. So maybe there's the perfect game we threw at Sawgrass. That was fun, wasn't it, girls and boys? I'm looking forward to another successful conference in Sawgrass. That starts not this Monday, but next Sunday night, right, Chuck?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So we got 1 weekend in between, long weekend in between. You mentioned the holiday on Monday. We don't do the class on a holiday because we want to have the market open so we can take the best advantage of it we can. So we come in the weekend after Memorial Day weekend.
Yeah, just for your information, if you schedule, this is our 10th anniversary. We try to do it the first weekend in June for planning purposes. And this is what we did last year. Let's go through this. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, so CoreWeave, one of stock that you brought me in on because I really hadn't paid that much attention of it. I know that you were looking at it pretty high last year, and it's still something to pay attention to this year. 17% on a BuzzFly, not a bad way to start the week. Of course, Nvidia, looking at that one, credit
Look at
put
the
spread.
prices, folks, a year ago where
Yeah,
we were on top of these stocks moving out. And you'll see why in a little bit when we get to the roadmap.
yeah. Micron 100 strike. I'm looking over at the Micron price right now. Wow. TQQ, QQQ at 550, XSP, QQQ, the TQQ, and of course CoreWeave. And let's go.
QQQ, look at that one, 533. Now it's over 709, 710,
Yeah,
711.
and the important part here, you got those strike prices. You kind of got my attention focused on it, Tom. But I want to also remind people: 17%, 1%, 16%, 27%, 11%, 27%, 10%, 21%, 20%. Listen, those are great numbers across the board. So the percentages there, that's an all important part of that discussion. Let's see.
Dave has got a special request, Jonathan. If you mind sending that to him, I'd appreciate it. So if you paid $1,000 to come, you basically got to come get educated for free, even online. Look at that, $9.97.
Yeah, $9.97, and if you want to join us online, you can do that. That's the $9.97 price, 904-706-3532, or just go to dtitrader.com/sawgrass. And Tom, we got
I
a
think we
lot.
got one or two slots open. Bill Sample called last night. He was coming in person. He's closing a big real estate deal in Louisiana. He would have been there, but he said I guess he's going to do it online. But we do have 2 seats left now with Bill.
There you go. And hey, if you come in person, you get fed. not only do you get great trades, because that's part of what we're going to do all the time.
So you got to ask yourself a question, folks. Do you want to make some money next week? Odds are, we might make a little bit.
Yeah, and if you are there, you got kind of the inside track to some of these classes later in the year, October and September in-person classes. There are a few seats left for that. So position yourself correctly to take advantage of the opportunities. That's what you're supposed to do as a trader, and we encourage you to take advantage of that. We're going to give you every opportunity we can. Now, the in-person classes, Tom, aside from Sawgrass, July 20th through 21st sold out. We're looking forward to seeing you guys there. September sold out. October, we've got 4 seats open. Kind of an interesting time, so look forward to seeing people there. Let me just remind you, October in Florida, it's still not that cold. It's going to be a nice temperate weather, and we look forward to seeing you guys. December down in the south, for those of you snowbirds, if you want to come and thaw out, we'll be happy to see you there. We got that 1 seat open coming December 7th through 8th.
Rhonda just signed up for 3 classes. Saw that, so she'll be coming a lot. But I think you're going to find out if you're coming to Sawgrass to have any intent on trying to come to one of these small classes, you better call today and get it, because we're going to be out of seats by the time we make Sawgrass next week. That's pretty strong. October and December.
Definitely. So go to dtitrader.com/in-person.
And let me also say, if you're scheduled already, you think you might want to take those spots, let us know, because that's all the classes we got this year. So it'd be nice to be throwing up sold out for everything, but that's happening.
Yeah, and definitely as soon as we sell out for everything, we start looking at the next batch for next year. So keep on top of that. Go to dtitrader.com/in-person to reserve your seat now. So, Tom, let's take a look at this FTD sheet. Let's see what we got going on, and just position this. The VIX 1767. We've got S&P futures. Now, this was as of about an hour ago. And what are we looking at? Here we go, live updates. You can see Jonathan is updating it as we're watching this, and the numbers moving around a little bit. There we go, 74.38 now in the S&P futures. They made it up, Tom, all the way to 74.56 while we were talking. And wow. So there is definitely news out there. And as soon as I turn everything over to Jonathan, I'm going to go and hunt some of that news and figure out what it is. But the S&P, NASDAQ have been doing great. The Dow, I want to see that get back. It did open above the FTD high one day last week. I think that was the day after we set the all-time high in the S&P. So I'm really looking forward to see that Dow getting back in shape. It's not quite there yet, but keep an eye on that Dow future. Crude coming back inside. See if we can get below that FTD low and coming down. The real story, of course, is when we get into these technology stocks. Just take a look at this. So CoreWeave, not quite where we want it to be, but Intel 117.04, well above the FTD high. Really one of the great stories this year. Open January at 37.77. The foundry is a huge part of why that is moving. So talked about that, by the way, in the update to the weekly newsletter last week, and got a couple more insights to you. Went a different direction this week, but we'll get that updated. So for those of you who follow the weekly newsletter, check that out after the session today. Come down Apple. We got NVIDIA, Tesla, AMD, Micron, and every time I think Intel's doing great, I then go down and look at Micron, and I'm like, wait, what? 295 to 719. Micron's doing a great job. Great pick on that one. And down the list, what else have we got?
I remember telling people at Sawgrass that when it was around 100, I said, it's going to go to 110. How do you know that, Tom? I said, well, if it closes over 100, it typically goes to 110. Then if it goes over 200, it's 220, over 300, 330. You see the math there? 400, 440, 500, 550, 600, 660, 700, 770, and then 800, 880. And then you get to 1,000 eventually. That's where the stock works.
Yeah, and here's an interesting one. STX pretty much on the same path, but not above the FTD high. So STX, that I might want to add that one to my list. Looking for something to come in. Let's see, going down the list. What else should we be looking at on this list, Tom? What are you looking at?
Well, I'm looking at all these key stocks. That's number one. And number two, I think that once we come out of the war, that you'll see gold and silver get a bid. And I think that some of the broader stocks that have not moved the way they should move will have a catch-up move. There'll be a shift of money, people taking money out of this. But then you also got June 12th is a big date. That's when SpaceX is going public, and that's going to lead us into July 4th. So you got a lot of positives happening before we get to July 4th in the tech area. So I think it's going to be a fun time. Don't miss my July 4th webinar.
Absolutely not. So let's go in and get back to our slides here. And past 5 train and trade sessions for those of you that might not have been here for the past 5 days. Yesterday, Tom, you talked about the Trump accounts. That's kind of a big deal. And if you haven't heard about them, guys, make sure you go and listen to that recording. Monday, we were talking about the keys to market timing, kind of an issue. You see the market moving here, understanding when certain news events are going to come out. Part of that, go and look at those slides. Reviewing the week is what we typically do on the Friday. So we did that last Friday as well. That was on the 15th. Thursday, talking about pocket puts. We took those into the weekend. They worked out very well. Wednesday, the art of trading, day trading, the art of winning. Right. So slides and recordings available there. Diversified Trading Institute, better known as DTI, has been teaching traders since 1996. Tom, it feels like a long time since you and I stood in that classroom. It was a great room sitting down there in the pit.
We custom built it for people to come to Mobile and learn how to trade. It was pretty well filled up most of the time. Every week we taught those classes. It was quite a footprint in the world of teaching and educating. We learned a lot.
Yeah, I still love that picture. And if you look in there, no models used in that photography. We have the classroom. Those are actual students. That's Tom and Jeff. And in the picture, you see those two figures standing out there? That was two people who work at DTI, Jeff Smith and Jeanette was in that picture as well. And man, they look tiny compared to that building, don't they?
They really do. Big building.
All right. Well, I'm going to turn everything over to Jonathan at this point. Him can go through what we're talking about today, and look forward to listening.
Sounds good.
All right, thanks, Chuck. And Tom, when I first got to DTI, you said it's simple. Got to figure out when to be long, when to be short, and when to be out. And I didn't know at the time, but that's the theme of DTI. That's the theme. It was the theme then, it's the theme now. So everything we do here revolves around answering that question: long, short, or out. And we combine a bunch of elements with our software and with the education we teach daily here at DTI. Again, it's about answering the most important question in the market. When can you be long to make money? When can you be short to make money? Or when does it just make more sense to keep your hand off the mouse and stay out of the market? That's always a choice too. Answering that question gives us some benefits. It gives you an action plan every day. It can remove fear. It can create optimism. Something you need to trade. You need optimism. You hear Tom say that all the time. And it allows you to write your own ticket. Long, short, or out. The roadmap software, the software that Tom has been creating for over 30 years, answers that question, makes your job a whole lot easier. It is the reason why Tom's been able to put up a perfect record in May 2026 and June 2025, but 31-0 this year.
And what's so beautiful about that is because I call them scholarships. I believe that if you take a chance and put money out to learn what we can teach you, keep an open mind about it, then I'm going to show you how to get what I call the uneducated to pay for it.
And Tom's not bashful about showing people how he does what he does. So let's look at what people think here. Joe said the roadmap is the reason why Tom does one-on-ones and everything else he does. It organizes all the data for us, and it helps us make good decisions. Roger said he's a doctor, can't keep up because of full-time work. Imagine that, being a doctor there. But with the roadmap software, I can get my game plan every night for the next day. It keeps me on the right side of the market. That's important there.
Yeah, Roger said that since he really learned how to use the roadmap, he had a tremendous month, a tremendous month last month, probably the best month he said since he's been trading. I thought that made me feel good. You'll see Roger at Sawgrass come talk about his journey.
And then Bill Sample. Bill is one of our longest students. As a longtime roadmap subscriber, I was skeptical by buying it for $3,000 back then. Not offered for that now. If I had known what it was worth back then, I wouldn't have been skeptical. It has shaped my trading for over 10 years. Actually, that's probably 15 by now. This is a little bit, Bill said this a number of years ago. So the roadmap simplifies the DTI method. And again, answering that question of long, short, or out. We want to do today, we want to go through some tools of the roadmap, the features of the roadmap, and we've narrowed it down to 10, the top 10 reasons why you can't leave today without the roadmap software. Number one, Tom, going to be our scanners, and I've highlighted the High Noon scanner.
Yeah, and let me tell you about this. We got a lot of scanners inside the roadmap, but I find people's been using the roadmap a long time. Go to the High Noon scanner, because that's where you're going to find stocks that you can take that you find your core week, you find these different stocks, and right from the beginning they fit the DTI method if they make that green side, okay, or if they make the red side, they tell you to avoid, and you can do that real quick each day if you're looking for ideas. And this will be very valuable as we move into the second part of the year, because we've been really focusing on the Mag 7 and indexes. But I would not be going into the far year with the work that would be required if it went through the scanner. And I wanted to point it out to everybody. It's under scanner. It's real simple. And you click it and you get all these stocks. And I like to look at the top 20 on both sides, and you get a feel for what is moving up and what's moving down with that High Noon scanner. But that's not where you stop using the scanner. That's just the idea generator, okay?
Yeah, and you get a lot of stocks here that you probably wouldn't find otherwise, which is really nice. Everybody knows to watch NVIDIA and all the Mag 7 stocks, but a lot of times you find some interesting plays in here that maybe you've never heard of, or maybe you've just forgotten about, over the years. So it's good stock there. Roadmap scanners,
You see ARM on there? Anybody, Chuck was talking about ARM. See ARM on there right there?
That's the ARM.
Yeah, there's ARM. You don't miss a lick with DTI scanner. This is the best scanner I've ever seen in the market. I've seen a lot of scanners. It's easy to use. It delivers it right to you.
If you want to do some more research into the numbers of those stocks, we have the research key. I've toggled, this is the QQQ we're looking at. I'm on a weekly viewpoint. You can get open, high, low, close data. You can get midpoint data for each week. And that's just the weekly tab. You can look on a 30-minute basis. You can look on a daily basis, a monthly, quarterly, yearly. You can even tell it to define its own range. If you wanted to look at a 15-month period for, whatever reason, you can tell it to do that. So research key, we don't show it a lot.
Excuse me.
But this is one of the oldest features of the roadmap, and it really does have a lot of use, especially when the market gets a little wild. You can go look at the numbers. That's the research key. Number 3 is the trade tracker. This is focused on our first 3 days process. We looked at the spreadsheet we keep for you at no charge. This is the roadmap feature built for that.
And excuse me, but one of the things you do, you take those stocks you're not used to, and you plug it in here, and you instantly know the number. Key numbers are an integral part of knowing where to enter a stock, knowing where to exit a stock, and the trade tracker is that third step that you use to get those key numbers. I use it every week for the Power program, and that track record is pretty interesting too, just to follow it on the trading option.
Look at AMD there and Intel highlighted today. I took this earlier today. So green across the board of the first 6 columns means that stock is doing quite well. It's above the month open. It's above the 3-day high for May in this case, and it's above Monday's high this week. That's what AMD and Intel are telling you. And this was a little while ago. Things may have changed by now. Might have more green across the board on this if we looked at it at a live market. How about numbers that pay? I took this earlier today. It highlighted AMD and Intel long.
And does everybody see how the roadmap is not just looking at one tool. The tools are connected, and you get the synergy because of that. And you really get a conviction of, hey, I need to be long Intel, for example.
Yeah, and I'm just looking at AMD. AMD is up another 2.5 points since I took that snapshot. So cool features in the roadmap. That's just one of many, many features. Let's look number 5. Let's look at number 5, the custom page. Tom, I believe I have this set up the way you like it. Open of the day.
Yeah, let me go through that for everybody. Here's the way I like it, because you see it if you're in TNT. I take a picture of it every morning, but it takes the opening price. And the opening price is the most important price during the day. It takes the RB open, which tells you where it was at the last reference bar where it opened. Okay. And you start planting a trend. Look at that. Opening price 77 last night on the E-mini. RB open was 73.95. And then the last is 74.92. But then you look over at the high and low, tells you how high it's been, how low it's been, helps you manage your risk. And then it gives you the midpoint. And another element that I have on my screen is the 5-day midpoint, which gives you a little extra support for when you're trying to set risk on a stock being long or short. You know, that's a real good number to have.
Number 6, of course, again, taken a little while ago, hour ago. So this is the ETR page. It's called the electronic tape reader, ETR for short. Tom, you want to say a few words about this? Because I know it's your favorite feature, probably.
Yeah, I got a whole screen of ETR lines, and you'll notice this if you're at Sawgrass. I'll be in front of the room and I'll be making trades, and you'll say, well, how does he know to make those trades? I can glance at the ETR line on the key tickers I might be trading and know what the tape is telling me to do. For example, if I'm glancing at it right now, I'm looking at the QQQ saying, hey, the QQQ looks fairly decent. It's up over a point since its last reading, which tells me it's still got momentum going higher. How do you make money off that? Well, you go to an option on the QQQ. That's the way that works. And I translate it as it comes across the tape that way. That way you don't have to stare at a screen all day. All you have to do is look at it. Is this helpful for everybody, even people that have the roadmap, to see how to sort of connect the dots inside the roadmap to help you? Yeah, I thought it would be. Okay, that's good, Jonathan. This is great.
Right. Number 7, feature number 7. Now, this was from the train, one of the Talking Trade postings. It's called the Roadmap Moneymaker. It takes levels of target and resistance and support levels on the S&P. That's what we see there, 74.50, S&P 73.45 to the downside. It takes those S&P futures levels and it calculates out where these other markets in theory should be trading if we got up there.
And here's an example of using that. If you plug in, I've started putting my pivot number when I post this in the TNT room. So you got the pivot number, you got support and resistance to start your day. And you can see, for example, if you went long NVIDIA, which you should have, then the target would be about 227.5. If you haven't gone long, that's an example of using it. And QQQ be 712, what is it, 1264 is where its resistance is going to step in. S&P 74.43 right now, about 8 points away. So if you were long enough, that would be a place you'd want to take some profit. This is such a functional tool that I use it all the time. And it does the math for you to keep you into the trade, so to speak. And it's really great.
We got one of the newest features of Roadmap called the Genesis table. It factors in all the reference bars and tells you, are we above all those reference bars? or are we below all those reference bars? We see a lot of, if you look down that LSO column, long, short, or out, see a lot of green today that says long.
Yeah, let me point that out. Notice that high reference bar in the QQQ was 708.21. Does everybody see that? 708.21 right there, that number. 708.21. Well, you tie that into the ETR line, solid green. You tie that into the other tools, and then you know that, hey, maybe I ought to be buying the QQQ in that situation. All connected.
Feature number 9 today is the roadmap dashboard. And what's really cool about the dashboard, you'll see the same collection of stocks that we've been showing, but the dashboard will organize it. It'll sort your stocks based off the current reference bar from strongest to weakest. And that's why you see AMD at the top. And then for off the RB3 this morning, Micron was the weakest. It's down there at the bottom. So a very neat thing that you can do with the dashboard. You run a horse race with it.
That's a great tool.
And then, of course, on the right, you see a compass chart, and I've narrowed it down to feature number 10, the roadmap compass chart, unlike anything you've ever seen before with those zones.
And I always tell people to buy the roadmap, go through the accuracy module, because see, everybody see that pattern right there? That's a buy signal. And when you see the penetration bar followed by the confirmation bar, it's a clear buy signal. Everything stacks up. This is what I talk about when I'm talking about when you do put money at risk, make sure you got the odds in your favor. In the roadmap compass charts, the last thing I look at before I pick up this mouse and start clicking.
Oh, we had some great feedback in the Zoom chat I've added to today's presentation. This was from David F. from today's Zoom session. It says not only is Roadmap incredibly useful software, but it comes with a lot of educational material. That's even an understatement. Hours upon hours of education we have for you. He says months after I bought the Roadmap, I was still finding or learning about new uses. And I got news for you as well. Every year, Tom's adding features to it. So even when you think you learned it all, there's probably a new feature in line very soon for the Roadmap software. Mike, Genesis, the Genesis table is found under tables in the software. All right, Tom, I'm going to kind of cycle through the rest of the slides for you, but the rest are queued up for you to go through.
Yeah. When I tell people I wouldn't trade without the roadmap, let me ask you a question. If you had that track record I just showed you before we started this process, would you trade with anything else? You got to answer that question. I won't. You shouldn't either. Now, we lowered the price for entry on the roadmap. It used to be a minimum of 3,000. We cut it to 1,000. And then that's for an annual contract. Then I said, let's just lower it to $100 a month, $99, and let everybody have a shot of using something they'll never quit. We started this about 35 days ago, because once you understand how to use it, every opportunity you're looking at trading comes right from the roadmap. Now, you know, people always say, Tom, I wish I could see the market the way it is. You can if you get the roadmap and start using it the way I use it. And market timing, I always ask that question. People say, wow, that's pretty cool, knowing to be long and short. Well, the roadmap helps me. That's how I see the market. Now, the first thing you should learn in the roadmap is the 4 power pattern. A buy signal, I showed you that with the one on that chart a while ago. That's what it really looks like. The penetration bar followed by the confirmation bar. Simple to look at once you get that picture ingrained in your head. Now, the buy failure happens when it goes in there and can't confirm. It typically goes to the target price on the other side. I like those kind of trades. Big, small losses when you're wrong, but big gains when you get it. Sell signal is opposite of the buy signal. Now, in a bull market, you'll see a lot of this happening the second half of the year, where the market tries to correct and go down, and then it reverses and goes into the opposite way. Those are going to be big trades the second half of the year because we're in a bull market. Now, the complete program, the whole roadmap process is all together. We've been working on it for years. It's a great program. Holds your hand, shows you how to take advantage. You know, the biggest thing that stops people from doing it, getting it loaded on their computer. So we do that for you. We have it set up. We call it the white glove download. And all you have to do is set a time. We set it if you want our help. We'll put it right on your computer where you don't buy a software and it sits over there without using it. Not only do we do that, we give you the setup that I use for a one-screen monitor that helps people see and start right out on the right foot. Okay, the complete system is included. We don't put any limitations on that. The trader course, some of the insights that we come up with to turn you into a master trader. These four specific 67% module takes your action rate up, which lowers your risk. And then how to manage those trades once you get in there. We give you insights and techniques to use depending on what fits you in your style of trading. We have a rapid results part of the roadmap that will, from every now and then, will pop up a stock you ought to look at, and you take it through the process. The whole access to the DTI training suite is available if you sign up. If you want to become a profitable trader, who doesn't? This is the way to do it. And get involved today. This Friday, we'll have a training class. So you Friday at 10:30, we'll be doing that. Friday, yeah, 10:30, we'll be doing that this week. Get involved today. Sometimes we trade during those classes. That's the complete suite of what you get for 99 bucks. Worth a lot of money, a lot of work, a lot of years putting it together, but I think it's the best software out there. It's how I make my living and the way you can grow your account. Now here's what we're going to do today. It's 99 bucks. Sign up. You'll get it for the rest of May, and your subscription starts June 1st. That's the way we do it. Any questions? Know that we stand behind our product. We've been in this game a long time. You know, I've made and lost fortunes learning this stuff. You don't have to. We're in it together, and that's the reason we started those classes on Friday, because I knew that if I could get you off on the right start, you do other things. Maybe come to Sawgrass, maybe do this, maybe do that. Because you're going to be making some money, growing your account, which is why you're here. And don't procrastinate. There's the bonus session we'll have at 10:30 this Friday. And again, it won't start counting until June 1st. 99 bucks. That's just to say, hey, you're reputable. You got to make sure you're reputable before we let you into the roadmap, right? So 99 gets you going. Tom, this might have been the best that we've ever displayed all these features together on the roadmap. I like the way we did this today. Only took us about 30 years to put it together. I think people are going to respond. Who is going to respond to this and become a member of our team, the roadmap team? Tell me if you don't have a roadmap. I know a lot of you do, but if you are going to respond, let us know. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, Jonathan, I think that A lot of people might have came in late to replay this morning too. But let's have a great day. Yeah, it does renew, Mike, monthly. No hassle. Stop it at any time, but it does renew.
Thanks, Tom. Enjoyed the session this morning. I am going to replay the entire session here